Today, we're looking at one of the biggest betting scandals in American history.
Fortunately, it's something that we probably won't ever see again due to modern regulations.
This is point shaving at Arizona State.
It all started back in 1994 with an Arizona State basketball player named Stevin Smith.
But everyone called him Hedake.
Hedake was an incredible baller.
He was an ASU All-Star and looked like a shoo-in for the NBA.
Unfortunately, he was also deep in gambling debt.
Hedake owed $10,000 to a campus bookie named Silman.
$10,000, which he really didn't have.
So Silman came up to him with a proposal with his upcoming game against Oregon State.
If Smith made sure that the Arizona State Sun Devils didn't cover the spread of the game, Silman would wipe out his debt and pay him $10,000 on top.
This is a type of match fixing known as point shaving.
With point shaving, the goal isn't necessarily to control the outcome of the game, more to make sure how many points are scored.
And Hedake was such a great player, he could control the entire game just as the point guard.
He understood how to give his opponents that little extra fraction of space if he wanted them to make shots.
And when it was time for him to score, yeah, he could do that too.
Case in point, he poured in 39 points against Oregon State, a career record.
Stevin also got another Arizona State player in the mix, a guy named Isaac Burton.
Meanwhile, Silman and his associates had gone to Vegas.
They systematically bet around $500,000 for Arizona State not to cover the spread at various sportsbooks.
They bet in increments of $9,000 to avoid suspicion.
And when the dust cleared, Silman and his buddies were up over $1 million.
So they decided to give it a go again, this time in a matchup against Oregon.
Again, Hedake controlled the game in the palm of his hand, making sure the score never got too high.
And Silman doubled his money again.
And for all this, Hedake got just another $20,000.
I just want to remind you, this guy was on the fast track to the NBA.
What was he thinking?
Meanwhile, alarm bells were starting to go off in Vegas.
The smart thing would have been to quit while Silman and Hedake were ahead.
Well, actually, the smart thing would have been not to try and fix basketball games and start up $1 million betting scandal. Just saying.
But instead, they decided to go again.
Now, a plan like this relies on a couple of things.
You want very few people to know what's going on.
And you want to be disciplined and bet small enough to avoid suspicion.
But by the time of the Washington game, all of that had gone out the window.
Silman's bankroll had gotten way too big.
So before the Washington game, hordes of people flocked to Vegas with pockets stuffed with cash.
They bet so much that the spread of this game shifted by 8 points between Friday and Saturday.
When a spread moves by 8 points that fast, you know that either one team brought in Michael Jordan and LeBron James, or there's something weird going on.
The same pattern was happening all over Vegas.
And the sports books started talking to each other.
The house of cards was about to come tumbling down.
In the end, the line swung so much in ASU's favor that Hedake couldn't control it.
Plus, at the time, let's be honest, Washington really sucked.
The Sun Devils beat down the Huskies by 18 points.
And a lot of people lost a lot of money.
Soon after that, the Vegas sportsbooks alerted the Nevada Gaming Board and the FBI.
And one of the best young players in the country was skipped in the NBA draft.
In the end, he was sentenced to 1 year in prison.
Such a waste of talent.
Point shaving can be hard to detect because players aren't necessarily trying to throw the game.
It might be as simple as intentionally missing a couple of free throws down the stretch.
So it's very unlikely that point shaving would work with legal, regulated sportsbooks today.
But back in 1994, point shaving rocked the NCAA and it ruined Stevin Smith's career.